What's up, Internet? We are here listening to the lovely, lovely rain music yet again. Hooray. And we have some letters from our old pal, Mr. Museum, which is great, because that means more fossils for us. I think Gracie's here today, which is pretty exciting, although it might be the other town, I'm not sure. But I know Nooks is closing in about 5, so we gotta get at least some flowers within that period of time, if nothing else. But maybe we'll find something cool to buy from Nooks as well. So step 1 is to swing by Nooks. Everything else we'll figure out as we go. I got a shirt. Got some paper. What shirt did we get? I'm not sure. Club shirt. For when you want to go clubbing, I guess. Alright. Nooks is open. That's good. You decide to close early for me, which is probably for the best. Alright. Sell the blue check prints. This. These two guys. That, and also that. Alright, that's a few bells. But I think we can do a little better. From the museum, we got 1. From the museum, we got 2. And from the museum, we got 3. Still have not gotten mail from the bank, mind you, so I might have been wrong about the goal for bells, which is kind of unfortunate. But I guess it happens. Got 1 actual fossil here. That kind of sucks. Sell, sell, sell. And I'll make a few more bells there as well. Alright, we got about 3 minutes to kill. Let's see if there's anything upstairs of interest for us. I got like this really obnoxious like thorn in my hand right now. And like I can't see it, but I can feel it. Hey, this is a shirt I don't have. What is this shirt? No, but I'll take it for both the very, very useful ticket and also the fact that I get to add it to my collection. Even though, of course, we're not going to actually be completing this game by completing the collection. That would require 15 other towns running in parallel perfectly to get everything. But, you know, we're at least going to get stuff when we see stuff that looks interesting. Alright, we've got purple pansies. Yes, please. We have white pansies. Yes, please. We have blue cosmos. Some tulips. And finally, some more cosmos. And I think we are actually done with that 1 acre now, which is pretty cool. Because that means we can work on another acre. Now that does leave us with a choice. Like I said, I did kind of want to work closer to the beach. Because that would, if nothing else, feel like we're actually accomplishing something. At the same time, I feel like I still need to carry on going this way, but I don't want to, you know? Problem is we have 2 full acres here. And then like a little bit of an acre here. Then a bunch of half acres. And then like 2 full acres at the beach. Or if we go this way, we got a half acre, full acre, half acre, full acre, full acre, half acre, like quarter of an acre, quarter of an acre. So, you know, there's a few different ways we can do this. I don't really want to go this way and deal with more of this, but at the same time, this is one of the last really like big full acres, so we're gonna do that, I guess. Just because. So plant that there. Plant this here. We plant this here. We plant this here. It is raining, so we might be able to catch a coelacanth tonight. But first things first, we should see if Gracie is here in town today. Or at the very least, she's in the town next door. Or we can get stuff done, because, you know, people are still awake. And we might also run into Gulliver, which would be pretty cool. I'm inclined to think that's a sea bass. so I won't bother. It also looks like a sea bass. That might be a coelacanth, though. The problem is their sprites... The range for the sea basses can actually get really big. And the coelacanth sprite is honestly not significantly bigger. So you can kind of get the two mixed up pretty well. Like, sometimes you'll find one that's just definitely, yep, that's a coelacanth. It's just big enough that the animation doesn't quite fully work with it. As I've said, once the fish gets bigger, the animation kind of becomes a little bit choppy. As opposed to sort of like there, where it's actually fairly smooth. So you can kind of tell that's not going to be a coelacanth, but again, sea bass tend to have a pretty wide variance in size. Now, the nice thing is, if we catch something that isn't a coelacanth, that is also not a sea bass, we at least have a lot of room to work with here, because of course right now we can catch barred knife, jaws, and snappers, which are actually worth something. That fish is too small to be anything good. We're going to ignore that. What else we got? Is Gracie here today, or is that Sahara? Ah, B2. Alright, let's go once again. Try and wow a very, very picky giraffe who will probably make fun of my clothes, even though she made them, mind you. I'm not sure Gracie's necessarily the smartest giraffe. Look at that. Alright. So she should be right around here. We don't have any new villagers, as we always don't, but I still have to check. Alright, Gracie. It's time to kill my wrist for basically nothing of value. Also, it's raining. You could just leave your car there and it would pretty much get clean on its own. But alright. The only thing that's really avant-garde about this car is the fact it has, like, leather or leopard skin seats. Again, yet another instance of Animal Crossing being bizarre to animals. Oh, my hands are cold though. This is gonna be tough. Come on. Yeah, alright. Now, hopefully, we got the one shirt I actually want, and I'm pretty sure, like, the one I need left from her collection. Which is, of course, the one she's always showing off, the nice one. Ah, that killed my wrist. I got a late start on that, too. I have no idea how I actually managed to do that. Please tell me it's the Gracie shirt. Son of a bitch. Come on. Oh, that's not fair. I'm wearing that very shirt. I have 2 of them already. Oh. I put myself in personal pain to get that. Oh, I'm bitter now. Actually, I think I know a way to make up for this. We're going to the next town over. I'm gonna make some noise on my computer, I apologize. I don't care anymore if this is cheating. I've earned this. Now, let's see, what are we looking for? Alright, I have found it. Now, let's see if I can pop that open as a different screen, pop this back open. all. And then just highlight that. Alright, now we're good. And by now we're good, I mean now we're gonna go cheat because this game is cheating harder. I earned this. Just means I have to type in like a 30-digit password. Oh look, it's Rover. As much as we don't ever want to deal with him ever again. Silly Rover. I might move that much. You don't know, Rover. Alright. It's time for us to do what we probably should have done from the start, but Gracie pushed us by cheating. She gave me the same shirt like 3 times, plus I already got the shirt from Velma. That's not fair. Screw this. Where's Tom Nook? I need to tell him a bunch of random characters. Alright, other things. You're gonna learn how the password system in this game works. Say code. Ah, come on. I can't even do it because I'm not a villager in this town. Damn it. Okay. Okay, we're doing that tomorrow then. That's fine. That's okay. I can live with that. I'm not getting angry at all. Oh. That is just bullshit. Oh, that sucks. Oh well. We'll get it eventually. And by that I mean tomorrow. Because we, at this point, have very much earned it. But basically the password system in this game is an interesting idea. It was basically if you wanted to trade items to people who were like too far away to just come into your town and then use them. Basically you'd show Tom Nook an item, he'd give you a password, and then you'd tell your friend the password, and then they could type it into their game, and Tom Nook would give them the item. Unfortunately, because there's so many items in this game, passwords are like 30 some odd digits long. It's pretty big, and of course it's the kind of passwords that use like L's, capital I's, 1's, lowercase i's, lowercase l's, A's, 4's. Pretty much everything that looks vaguely like something else, it uses them. Zeros and O's. And if you don't type in the right thing, it doesn't count. And the thing is, like, there's some things don't actually have, like, identifiers to show you the difference. Like, zeros and O's look identical. Hey, a hi-fi stereo. In 2B. Well, this is the best stereo. And if we're already here, we might as well try and find it. Maybe that'll make our day a little better. It seems weird that you can walk up to Gracie wearing one of her shirts and she'll comment on it. But she won't then take that out of, like, the rotation of items you can potentially win from her. That seems like a stupid thing to program. Or rather, not program. And it seems like such a simple thing. Seeing you already have to put the flags in that say, okay, you're wearing a Gracie shirt. I take offense to that. It's not just because I've been trying to get that one specific shirt since this game started. I'm doing something I'm really not well suited for, which is button mashing, but... Man, Gracie freaking cheats, is all I have to say about that. That was unfair is what that was. Nothing there. Come on, it's got to be around here somewhere. Oh, migratory locust. I mean, we're in B2, aren't we? Yeah, it should be here. I would think. And yet, it is not. I don't even need a hi-fi stereo. I already have one, but... the fact that it's just not here both puzzles and annoys me. I don't know where else it could be. Oh well. At least Glowy Spot's here to console us with his free 1,000 bells. Do you need something, Pierce? Get a watch? I can get a watch. Let's go get watches. You better watch how quickly I get this watch, assuming that he hasn't traded it to 4 other villagers. At least he had it. That makes life a little bit better for us. Alright. I believe that was a migratory locust. There it is. There's your watch. I'm very disappointed, actually. Actually, I think there is a different way to put in codes, like by sending mail out. So I don't know, maybe we'll try that later, because I'm annoyed. Nothing for Cookie. Alas. Cookie will then receive 0 help, because she needs none. An enviable position, bear in mind, but still one I wish I could help with. I think his mind is always a blank, that's why he's a jock villager. Alright. You know, I really miss the big lotus that was in the middle of those pads. Might have been a, like, I'm not sure it was a lily, I'm pretty sure it was actually a lotus, but, you know, either way, I missed the big flower in the pond. I shall return the Pokemon Pikachu, because if I don't, he'll ask me to retrieve it from you, and you'll have lent it to like 16 people. Alright, so let's go get to Pierce. I like return missions better than, you know, fetch missions, just because you only have to go through one person. It's far less stupidly designed. Jumpin' Jackrabbits. There's your Pokemon Pikachu. Uh-oh. If it's not a Gracie shirt, I warn you, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm very disappointed. But it is a very snappy print. Credit where credit's due. Alright. What else can we go and do around here? I don't think Gulliver would be around because he showed up on shore a couple of days ago. It's not raining, so there's no coelacanths to go find. At this point, it's just asking villagers if they need stuff. Which is fine, I guess, but... Close to Tangy. I can do that. I don't know where she is, but I'll find her. Found her. That was easy. Tangy, just don't tell Spike you're here, or he might not give me a reward, because I didn't exactly actually have to work for it. And I like rewards. Huh. That doesn't look too bad on her. Now you wear the old outfit. Did she just give me the old outfit? Yep. That's funny, because normally if they give you their old outfit for whatever outfit you give them, they usually have, like, special dialogue for it. Just to point out that that's the very one they were wearing, and they didn't launder it. So it's actually very, very gross. Maybe Goldie needs something else. I'm gonna catch that fish. I think it's Barbell Steed, but I'm gonna catch it anyway. Maybe that'll help me feel better after what happened with Gracie. Come on. Come on. Oh, can't even catch a fish. Yep, that's this day in a nutshell, I guess. Oh, that was a big fish too. I should have caught that. Oh well. I think Sahara's coming by in this town. Yeah, that might have been yesterday, I'm not sure. I really need to be careful around the coast because there's no coelacanths. There's no Gullivers either, not that that's really all that strange. Maybe Camo Frog has something for us to do. Well, I only didn't do Animal Crossing last night because my previous Animal Crossing session crossed over into a second day. So, I did Animal Crossing yesterday as well. I just happened to then have time for something else. Oh, this game freaking cheats. I'm still upset about that. And the time I try and rectify that problem, the game won't let me. You've bested me this day, Animal Crossing. Hey, Crazy Red's gonna be here. October 8th, that is 2 days from now, but of course because he shows up at 6 p.m., that will actually be 3 days from now for us. It's the time difference. I've never understood that, why some villagers like set up their special whatevers at 6 p.m. Basically don't count for a whole day, even though it's the day they show up. It's weird. But Peaches, I need something to get my mind off of how really obnoxious Gracie is. And the fact that Tom Nook won't help me fix the problem. I could see them firing a bunch of employees at GameStop. I mean, their stock's been in the dumper for a while because, I mean, they're not really even doing what they're slated to do anymore. They're just selling Funko Pop figures. And weirdly enough, because I had to swing by one while I was waiting for someone yesterday, apparently they are now selling, like, Gunpla, but only, like, 4 different types of Gunpla per store, so they have no selection and they're overpriced. I'm not paying $20 for an Axia Repair 2. I already have one, and while I do need another, I paid $5 for mine. Thank you. Yeah, that's the thing. I walked into one yesterday, and it's like, there's nothing there that's actually, like, games anymore. It's all just random crap and merch that's overpriced and under-interesting. Videotape to Ace. I can try and retrieve it. Mental note, that's where Velma is, just in case she teleports around. I need to move something to her. But she already did. Oh, Ace. Are you always angry when I need to talk to you? Just like everyone else. Yeah, I've heard that they're, like, closing down, I want to say something like 500 GameStop locations as well. Just because they have to, like, massively restructure if they want to have any sense of profit anymore. Okay, now don't be sad this time, Ace, because I really do need to ask you about a thing. Okay, I'm picking up a videotape. And you actually have it. That's encouraging. You'd think, though, if they're closing out so many locations, they'd end up, like, just axing their prices on stuff as well. So it might be a good time to try and, you know, see if you can pick up whatever small semblance of games they have left. Although it's the weirdest thing, like, I went to one yesterday, and all the games they had were no longer being sold in cases. They took the cover art from a game, and they, like, taped it together to be, like, this weird, like, little pouch thing that holds the disc. It is the most bizarre thing. And the weirdest thing about that is they're charging brand new prices. They even have stickers declaring how new they are on it. It's like, that's not new. That's not even acceptable. But, I mean... And the frustrating thing is, you know, the only real GameStops, or the only real game shops I have in town at this point are GameStops. Like, my town is just awful for video games. I have 2 game shops that aren't GameStops, and they know it, so they'll charge 1,000% what something's worth. So I have to buy everything off eBay, and eBay, of course, now has like a new import charge on top of everything else. So it's like, there's just no way for me to get games anymore. Yeah, I think a retro arcade would be an interesting idea. I could see that being quite successful, but at the same time, depending on where you set it up, you'd have to jump through a bunch of hoops. I remember, I think they were trying to set one up in Vancouver about 10-15 years ago, and they got shut down because they are classified as gaming, and gaming is, like, in a broad sense of term for something like that, it's considered gambling, and they didn't have the proper licenses for that, even though there was no gambling involved. There's Rainbow Trout. So if you were to do that, you'd have to do a lot of research beforehand and probably get like 1,000,001 different permits and licenses just to even think about opening something like that. But it's a good idea for sure. Maybe Cube needs something. Nope, nothing for Cube. How about you, Camo Frog? You need something? Wow. This town really needs a movie rental place. Because everyone keeps borrowing everyone else's VHS tapes. It would certainly help if you had a connection like a state rep to figure out the laws and stuff for stuff like that. Are you gonna make him sad again? Nope. This time they didn't even really talk. Alright, there's Velma still. I should really ask her if she needs a thing. Hey, Ketzel! You don't have it. You lent it to Goldie. Classic Ketzel. Alright, well, now I gotta go find Goldie. We haven't run into Goldie yet today. So that might prove to be a problem. Here she is. That's convenient. Oh, Goldie, we both know you won't actually do that. Because then half the gameplay to this would never actually happen. I find it bizarre that, like, I cannot actually actively, like, you know, take advantage of a system built within the game just because I'm not this village's main villager. That's bizarre. Like, I'm willing to accept that I can't take advantage of, like, special event rewards, fine, because it's like it's a community celebration, okay, but just saying I can't take advantage of a built-in function in the game just because I'm not a villager here, that's a bit crap. I guess this all just goes back to the fact I think the game should flag stuff that you already have, especially if the game goes so far of its way to acknowledge that you have it beforehand. Alright, so let's sell some crap. They beat Nook over the head with our freaking fish net over all the bullshit he's putting us through. Just because freaking Gracie cheats. Alright, let's see if there's anything cool here we want to have. I don't think we've gone up here today. Oh yeah, we have. Get the guitar, the cow skull. Nothing particularly interesting. We did catch a large char, though, so we got some bells out of that. Like, I think there is a alternative way to use that system, but it requires, like, writing letters, and even then you'd have to wait, like, a full day to get the results. So it makes me almost wonder if that would be better than just, you know, waiting until tomorrow and doing it in my village. I don't know, it's just bizarre. It has so many, like, different hoops to jump through just to try and rectify a very simple problem. Caught a large regular base. That's okay. Still worth some bells. My experience is to be a tin can, but let's roll that dice and see if it's a tin can. It's a tin can. I am figuring out how this game works. I use my pointer and middle fingers to mash the A button. The weird thing is it says to use, like, just your right hand, so I would think that it's sort of implying to use all the buttons on that side, but I think it's just the A button. But the bigger problem here is, I have, earlier I actually won Gracie's card. And the obnoxious thing is, like, I've got every Gracie shirt but one. Not only does she acknowledge I'm wearing a Gracie shirt, but she gives me the Gracie shirt I'm wearing. At some point, if the game's going to flag something like that, it should properly flag it out of the reward pool as well. Yeah, I use my pointer and my middle finger. Because something about that, it feels like you can sort of sometimes get like a double tap out of that. A little bit. At least that's how I figure. It's the only way I've ever managed to get like button mashing challenges, but I'm bad. And you know, I want to fix this problem. I want to go to Nook and use a password to fix it, but I can't because I can only use the Nook in my town who's closed for the night. Because bullshit contrivance. And I mean, I guess I could use a password through a letter, but that won't take advantage until I log on again, which will be tomorrow, so there's almost no point. I sold it. Skirt, I don't need a fourth cool shirt. I've won 3 from her already, plus I got a free one from Velma just because randomness. I just want the Gracie shirt, damn it. I don't even think I'd wear it for long. I'd probably just go back to the cool shirt, honestly, but it just pisses me off that, you know, I've got the entire set minus that one. The game goes out of its way to understand that I have it, and that I'm actively wearing it, and she continues to give me another one. Oh, it's just... why? Why would you ever design a game to do that? It's just the most, like, backwards-ass thing to do. And I mean, I know at least... No, I'm not playing on emulator. I'm actually playing on a proper Wii with my old disc that's about 20 years old. But, you know, I know at least later Animal Crossings do something similar, like, I know at least Wild World did this for snowmen, where if you built a snowman and got a piece of snowman furniture, it would actually, like, invisibly, like, have a checklist of all the various parts you got. So that it would give you a full set before giving you, like, repeats and stuff. So why it doesn't do it here and yet still actively acknowledges that you have it and are actually wearing it in front of her? Something about that is just a little bit bullshit for my taste. I can only assume it's because they were cutting corners porting this to the GameCube version from the N64. And they just decided, well, we managed to save some space on the N64 by not having this, like, invisible checksum type of thing. Let's keep that, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense, and continue to have this game take up the total data size of a postage stamp. I still have a copy of this for the N64. I've got you beat. I have almost every game in this series. I do not have the Wii version, though, and I don't have, like, Pocket Camp or all, like, those the amiibo, like Mario Party game or anything like that. But I've got all the main Animal Crossing games minus the Wii version, which got stolen from me. Although I still have the Wii Speak that went with it. For all 0% it matters nowadays, because everything involved with that got shut down. I did a video of the N64 one. It was actually just going to be like an import N64 thing to celebrate that I could make my N64 import friendly. And like half the video is just me playing Animal Crossing. or the Boats no Mori, more accurately. But, you know, I had fun with it. I do not have Amiibo Festival. I don't have Pocket Camp either. But I have all the proper, like, life sim Animal Crossing games, except for the Wii version, and that's just because it was stolen. And I guess if you count it as a different thing, I don't have, the Boats no Mori plus E GameCube, whatever, special edition that came out after this in Japan. That was just a port of this, really. I don't have that, but I actually saw a copy recently I could have bought for basically nothing, too. But I didn't feel the need to, because I've got this version and I've got the original. Pocket Camp, if I recall, is, and correct me where I'm wrong, because I actually don't know anything about it. I think it's an iPhone game, which I can't play. If it's a 3DS thing, it's just because I literally have like 5 3DS games. But at the same time, my iPhone is literally a original iPhone 4 that was like 5 years old when I bought it, brand new. So yeah, I can't play anything. The great thing about the Apple system for my phone is that it tells me it needs to update. I try and update it. It freezes every time it updates because it says like the update is too new and the phone can't run it. And yet it says I can't download any like programs or files or anything for it because it needs an update. So it's literally just saying, well, your phone's too old, buy a new one, or you can't do anything with it. So at this point, my phone is literally just like an alarm clock if the battery holds out, because it only charges to a grand total of 80%, and it drops from 80 to 1% in an instant, which is amazing. It's got the worst battery ever. And occasionally, if I'm lucky, I can check my emails once a day on my phone. So, I can't play anything on my phone. I think the only game I ever did manage to play on it was the remake Secret of Mana. It basically is a paperweight, yeah. But not being able to afford a new one, and also not really having a need for a phone to begin with, because no one ever calls me. You know, I don't see the need. I mean, I've been told I can go to, like, this one place nearby and just, like, pay them $100 to, like, swap out the battery, but at that point, I could probably just get a newer phone. If you take it to, like, the Apple store, they'll basically just say, yeah, this stuff's too old, we can't service any of this, just buy a new one. I'll get a new phone when I actually start making at least enough money to support myself properly. Like, literally, the only people who have ever called my iPhone are literally, scammers with a Russian phone number for whatever reason. Like the call display will just say Russia, and it's like, why is Russia calling me? Maybe I'm a secret agent, and they're just trying to, like, you know, awaken me or trigger me or whatever, so that I can, like, fulfill my duty to kill the Prime Minister or something. I think that was a plot to a movie somewhere along the ways. That sounds vaguely like the Manchurian Candidate, if nothing else. And also an episode of Venture Brothers. That was based on the Manchurian Candidate that featured Ghost Abraham Lincoln. I'm gonna fish for more fish. Maybe one of them will give me Gracie's shirt. Lord knows Gracie isn't giving that one to me. But I can have 18 copies of the cool shirt. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I wear the cool shirt well, but I want Gracie's shirt, damn it. If only for completion's sake. So it's one of the few Gracie designs that's actually not horrible. Because no, I don't want to dress like a watermelon, thank you, Gracie. Oh, what's that? You have a shirt that makes me look like a strawberry. No. Carp. Yeah, the fish in this game are a little goofy like that. Like, it's actually, like, worked into, like, the actual mechanics sometimes. Usually if you see, like, a fish that either, like, actively avoids your lure or, like, looks at it and just ignores it, that's either a piece of garbage or a very rare fish. If that doesn't happen, I think that's just the game screwing up and just giving you a common fish for no reason. And I mean, I've seen animal villagers spawn on the train tracks and in walls and on top of signs where you can't interact with them, so... I mean, I've seen weird stuff happen in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the coding it's just messing up a little. Alright, gotta go talk to Camel Frog. That's a big fish. It's probably a carp. Catch it. Might be a rainbow trout. Or a large bass if we were lucky. That's a carp. I think the other fishing tournament's gonna happen soon. I think that happens in October. Should. Yes, it's very nice to actually have more than 2 viewers. Maybe I'll actually raise that average viewer count enough and get affiliated eventually. That'd be nice. Okay, we gotta go find Tangy now. Last I checked, Tangy was down with Spike and Ace, which means they're probably in the middle of a fist fight. We'll have to enter and leave the acre about 20 times before that'll ever get fixed. Someone sounded angry. Yeah, Spike's kind of rocking that shirt pretty well. I shall take this back to Pierce, no problem. Spike, he makes himself feel better by making Ace sad. And of course, because people are happy, we just have to make small talk, and sometimes they'll give us free stuff. Sometimes. Bagels. I genuinely don't think I've ever seen that line. I mean, food items in these games are of course just pulled from a randomized pool, but you know, I've never seen a line that just says, I'm hungry, I'm gonna have food. Oh, right, I have to go to the other eagle. All the way up here. And hopefully Pierce hasn't left, he's not. Deliver this unto you. Alright, well, at least we're getting good rewards now. Hooray for furniture. And a table. That's actually a pretty good table, but we have the glass top table, which is the nicest one. Oh, and we can get rid of this, make a little bit more room for some fish. Alright. Come on, something good. I know if we fish underneath the waterfall, we can get another large char if we're lucky, but it's not quite a super fish, but it's worth a fair number of bells, and it's pretty rare. So it's kind of worth doing if you see something like that. I just kind of miss the fact that we can no longer catch the Arapaima. Because it was like the biggest catchable fish in the game. Not the biggest shadow, mind you. There is one other that's bigger, but you can't catch that. At least without hacking into the game and, well, if you catch it, the game freezes. Maybe Tangy has something for us. Do you have something for us? Nothing for Tangy. Nothing for Spike. And, you know, what's even more frustrating is when I travel back to my town, Gracie's car is going to be all dirty again. Thus, like, eliminating any sense of satisfaction I got from actually succeeding at that minigame. And it has the double slap in the face in that I cannot actually do anything to fix it. Or try again. I just have to live with that very dirty car mocking me. And my stupid rags that she gave me. Because that's all duplicate shirts are good for. Looking for Cube. I guess we could ask Weber, but I don't really want to deal with Weber ever. Consider that though. Well, coelacanth are nice because, you know, you can fish for them year-round. It just has to be raining. And they're worth like 15,000 bells. I think they're worth 15,000. The weird thing is they're not even really by pound the rarest fish, just because the jellyfish, which is actually a really common fish, is rarer. Just by virtue of the fact that jellyfish only spawn for a grand total of 14 days in a year. Whereas coelacanth can spawn anytime it rains, which potentially can change on an hour-by-hour basis every single day. It's just a little bit harder to find when it is actually available, but it has overall a greater time when it is actually available to be caught. I probably should go back to town at some point and go fish for coelacanth. I see 2 spots I can dig up. I'm going to do that. Thank you, awkward camera angle, for showing me this. Oh, good. Less bells than a single piece of fruit. Terrific. You know, I had to go through 2 villagers to get this, right, Camo Frog? 2. Still, it's a good place to start, being able to code something even like that. And I mean, that's a very basic skill that you can work on, and in turn it will take you very, very far, if you let it. Alright, Weber, I'm regretting this already, but do you need something for me to do? No, I don't want to help you, but I need stuff to do. Okay, Velma has Organizer. Now, if Velma hasn't pulled a Velma and teleported to the other side of the planet, as she likes to do, she should be north of the Wishing Well. So I think that's where we're going to go look. Up, over here. Go around Kaisar. And she should be down here. Migratory Locust, that's actually worth a few bells. I might try and catch that. Doesn't ping off into space. Crap. Oh, that's still pretty cool. It's definitely a useful place to begin. Alright, she was here. But she did what she always does, and she teleported off into space. There she is. I swear one time she actually did teleport into like a wall or something, because she was just not available in town at all. Okay, gotta go find Cookie. That's doable, I suppose. Let's go find Cookie. Nice thing is, Cookie doesn't normally leave where she lives. I hope. There she is. Alright, Cookie. I just gotta go back to Weber, give this to him, and maybe he'll be more organized. No, I'm not. They were both staring at the same thing on a different plane. Alright, so we gotta go find a Weber. We should be down in his little random chunk of the opposite side of the universe where no one goes because Weber lives there. But on the bright side, that would be right about here. I do quite like those little dragonflies. And they're not as obnoxious as the bandit dragonflies, although they're more significantly less. The sad thing is, you can find bugs that are worth a lot more than bandit dragonflies that are really easy to find. I mean, all the beetles are worth more than that. The migratory locust is worth more than that, and it's a little tricky to catch, but it's not anywhere near as hard. Alright, I think we can go sell all this stuff. Let's go get these two. Maybe Peaches needs something now. We'll take a look. Nope. That's okay. And Chow, since I'm here, I might as well ask as well. The nice thing is, with Red coming to town in a few days, we have another chance at being able to possibly finally finish our museum. That'll be nice. Assuming that completely random numbers decide that, you know, I get what I want for once. I shouldn't use the term completely random because there is no such thing as true randomness when it comes to designing games, but I kind of wish I could understand the odds of Red having items that are exclusive to him versus items that are just standard. That's a pretty cool idea. I love Harvest Moon games. Well, I like the good Harvest Moon games. Since, like, the DS, they've kind of been crap. And even the more recent ones, they feel like just slightly up-resed, like, iPhone games, from what I've seen. But don't get me started on the remake of Friends of Mineral Town, where they changed every other character. I looked at a couple of, like, screenshots of that, and it's just like, why would someone want to do this ever? Why would anyone want to play this ever? I was actually looking at a couple of Pokemon hack games, and someone actually created, like, a Harvest Moon style Pokemon game, which was kind of interesting. Oh yeah, Magical Melody, which had different properties you could, like, set up, and each one had, like, different advantages and stuff. Yo, Magical Melody was the best Harvest Moon on consoles around that time. Not that there was a lot of competition. I mean, Save the Homeland was not very good, and A Wonderful Life was, at best, a thing to unlock stuff in Friends of Mineral Town, but you know, Magic Melody was great, except it had the worst production value ever. Like, all the sound effects in that are just the most ear-bleedingly bad. Which sucks. But that was also the game that decided to introduce the new formula of Harvest Moon basically being a game about collecting stuff for the sake of plot contrivancy to end up, like, solving some problem. Which was kind of, I don't know, it wasn't bad because it at least gave you sort of goals and achievements you could work towards, but I didn't like how structured that was either. I liked a little bit more free-form nature of stuff, I guess. Also, I was annoyed because that game brought back, like, so many Harvest Moon characters, but they skipped over my favorite one. And then Harvest Moon DS had her in it, but if you married her, the game ended, which pissed me off. You know, to have such a wide variety of, like, different farm locales and stuff, that does actually sound, at least, like, the very early, because I only played the very first one, Rune Factory games. Those games were a lot of fun. As long as you never played the PS3 version, which was, like, the worst thing ever. Though the Wii one was, like, one of the best ones for the system. I've heard the series continue to be quite good on the DS, but I just never happened to find a copy of, like, Rune Factory 2 or 3, and I think 4 is now coming out with a re-release. But I remember enjoying the first Rune Factory, although I saw a lot of problems in it, too. Like, money just had no value in it because you could craft every item in the game. Like, the only thing you could really use it for was buying upgrades to your house, and there were only 3. That was a little bit not great. Oops, that's a drop. I don't want to drop stuff. I want to plant stuff. Oh, so sort of like subletting it to other farmers and stuff. That's an interesting idea. Or maybe like micromanaging them and getting a cut or something like that. Yeah, I can see that working. You know, it was Harvest Moon DS that really did teach me that being able to cheat in games sucks. That was a game where you could get unlimited money, I want to say, like, immediately out of the box, just because of some glitches in the game. And I did that once, and, you know, the moment I had all that, I was like, well, great, I've got all this money, but what am I supposed to do with it? That's actually really cool. I like that idea. I'd play that. That sounds awesome. I think keeping it themed like that and having, like, different things they could open up and different, like, services and stuff that they could end up providing you with at the same time. You know, that could give all sorts of different strategies as to how you want to actually, like, set up your town or whatever. That's actually pretty cool. That is a very cool idea. Come on, don't be a sea bass, although we both know you are. Speaking of glitches in Harvest Moon DS, that game was not well tested at all. Like, I remember the first time I got my copy, brand new, started it up, and it was immediately hit with a glitch called the Ghost Town glitch. And basically this means that from the start of the game to whenever you want to restart, because that's about as long as that will actually go, it would glitch in such a way that all the doors were locked and no NPCs would ever spawn. So I think the game was sort of like flagging itself as being like a festival, except no festival would ever actually occur. And what was really the final nail in the coffin is there was one girl in Harvest Moon DS I really wanted to marry, and she had like some of the worst requirements, and I managed to do it. And the earliest you could ever marry her was 5 years in because of these stupid requirements. And the funny thing is, she was bugged in such a way that you could never see one of her events, which was a trigger to marry her. And there's no way to, like, use a cheating device to actually get around it, which sucks. It was the Harvest Witch. I wanted to marry the Harvest Witch because she seemed fun. And I find that game peculiar because it introduces, like, characters from Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life, such as, what was it, Lumina and, Flora, who you couldn't marry in those games because Lumina was too young, but she was apparently someone who could marry your kid, which is a little weird. And Flora, I think, was a married woman or something, and yet you could marry them in that game, which was just bizarre. Although I did appreciate being able to marry Flora, because I couldn't marry the Harvest Witch, which pissed me off to no end, because she was the one girl in the game who seemed interesting. I couldn't marry the one character I liked from Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, because my game would end. And, you know, it was literally just her at this point. I always went for Karen. She was always the interesting one. I found a lot of the girls, at least from Harvest Moon 64, because that's where I came from, I found them to be somewhat kind of bland, but Karen always at least seemed to have like a personality, so I always just went for Karen. But you can't go for the Mineral Town girls in Harvest Moon DS or the game ends, which I think is kind of bullshit. But just playing Harvest Moon DS and just, you know, I would be willing to go back and play that game if I could just marry the one girl in the game that I actually want to. Like, if anyone ever came up with, like, some way to, like, put a code out for that, I would totally do that. 'Cause, you know, I actually did go out and buy a DS, like, action replay card just for the sake of being able to marry her. It's like, yeah, no code will actually work to do that. It's like, oh, come on. You have a code for everything else. You have a code for raising individual heart values to sheep. Why can you not just have a code that flags one event as seen? Ugh. And at one point, I married the girl that was trapped at the bottom of the mine, who you had to go through 100 levels of a mine every single day to see once to raise her heart level. Oh, that took forever. But that was like quite possibly the buggiest game I've ever seen. Because like everything in that game was bugged. I mean, like I said, start up the games, no NPCs have spawned. I figured I had to look for like a specific event because there were like specific events that you had to just walk to areas to trigger. I figured that was what I had to do, but just like, nope. Whole game is completely broken. And now you have Stardew Valley, which is a great game, but honestly, I'm not sure, like, any of the characters to marry. I think they're all just kind of bland, honestly. I think that's a great embodiment of how I feel about Stardew Valley, though. It's a great game, it's fun to play, it has a great amount of time to sink into. I've sunk probably thousands of hours in Stardew Valley, but it's like, for everything it does, it feels like it only does it halfway. Oh, absolutely it does. But I mean, like, nothing about it feels like it was completely worked out. And I think part of that is the whole, like, green light early access nonsense where it's like, you know, we'll put it out in beta and, you know, we'll get around to eventually making it kind of a whole product, but then it never is, and then the person who works on it ends up working on a sequel that gets released the same way. It was Subnautica that did that. I reviewed recently that did exactly that. Oh, we've got a game that's only half finished. Well, you know, that's good enough. Let's release a sequel that's only half finished to get people to pay for it in an unfinished state. I hate that crap so much. You know, I miss... Like, you know, you can defend a game and the industry as a whole for how much patches afford, you know, being able to fix things that are broken, but I hate the reliance on that. I loved how back in the day, when a game was released, it was 100% complete. And if there's a bug in it, it was just in it. So they better have, you know, tested it out to the point where it at least worked. But, you know, like, combat in Stardew Valley, there's, like, no point to it at all. Fishing is there, but there's not a ton of reason for it. You know, I like some of the crafting elements, but again, it feels like there's very limited options as to what you can do. marriage exists, but I don't recall marriage actually being particularly eventful or anything. Oh, I caught a boot. I don't know, it feels like everything in Stardew Valley, as much as I love that game, is only sort of half thought through. Oh, that's cool. So, you know, you've sort of brought in undesirables, and now people demand protection from them. I actually like that. That's a very complicated system. I imagine that would be kind of a pain to program for, but I think that would be a very cool way to create sort of like a unified world. Why am I fishing up so much garbage? Damn it. It's Gracie's curse. It's gotta be. Gracie cursed me, and now it's this thing. Alright. Gotta go around here, dump some stuff. I think I might fish for a little bit more, and then I gotta get back to working on a review, because I am behind pretty massively. But I'm pretty excited, because I'm almost done the review for the most bizarre sequel ever. So that'll be fun to see in a week or two. Okay, very clearly dirty freaking car. Want me to wash your car again? I hate you so much. You stupid giraffe who's a girl in this game and a boy in another game because reasons. Gracie. Yeah, I could see those being interesting options, certainly. You could do a one or the other sort of thing as well, depending on how you set it up. But again, that would be even more you'd have to account for and properly program. Then you have to, like, design assets for both potential outcomes. Heck, you could probably end up sort of going both ways with that, like having... If you pick the Go Green guys, you'd probably have, like, illegal lumber farming that you'd have to deal with or something, and then if you had the other way, you'd have to have, like, the Greenpeace-ish people, you know, like, harassing villagers or something for supporting this. That's not a bad idea, using the mountain for, like, solar development or, like, windmills. If it had water, you could, like, just create water turbines and stuff as well. Although that could end up affecting rivers, if we're going for a unified universe sort of thing. Which could affect, you know, fishing numbers as well as access points. I mean, if you had, like, a giant dam up, that could end up opening up new paths to new areas at the cost of, like, being able to fish in some areas. Now I'm just reminded of Harvest Moon's, like, special events for building, like, the extra bridge across the mountains and, like, the hot springs and stuff. Because it kind of completely changed how you traverse the mountains after they were built. Well, if nothing else, I can definitely do some sort of supportive role, certainly. I can give ideas. that's what I'm good for. Making them happen, maybe not so much, but I certainly can be some sort of support or something. But, yeah, no, your idea's definitely got a lot of potential to it, for sure. Is Pearl asleep? Nope. She's in this acre. Or she's in her house with the lights off. Like she sometimes weirdly does. Alright, well, we've been going for about an hour and 10. I think that's probably good. I gotta get back to working on my review for the most bizarre sequel ever, and then put up a bunch of videos for tomorrow. But this has been fun. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, follow the stream to know when we go live, because we do this every single night, plus other stuff when I have the time, like how I did Seiken Sets 3 for like 2 hours earlier today / yesterday. It was a lot of fun too. As well as checking out and subscribing to my YouTube channel, see everything else I do, which is a lot of stuff. And if you really want to make my day, check out the show's PayPal or Patreon. Support the show any way you can so that I can do what I do to the best of my ability, which at this point is getting turned down by Tom Nook and screwed around by Gracie because she cheats. Ugh. Why don't you get yourself on the Discord where we can talk about how cool that one shirt we can't get from Gracie's is, and why this game was designed in kind of a bizarre, backwards-ass manner in some respects. But, anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Peace out, Internet.